All right, so we got breaking news coming out of Iraq right now. Apparently, Iran has launched missiles, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles into one of our air bases in Iraq. I'm getting conflicting reports about whether or not there's been 20 casualties on the American side. I'm not sure what's going on. We're going to check out this article real quick. And, try to get everybody up to snuff, up to speed about what's going on. I wanted to make sure I got this story done before I ended up going to work. So here we go.
To the United States and how they respond to any retaliatory attack from Iran. David?
Again, Martha Raddatz, who's live in Tehran for us tonight. Martha interviewing the foreign minister of Iran earlier today. And you heard Martha report there. She asked if the Iranian regime was at all concerned about an all-out war, and the foreign minister telling Martha that that would depend on how the U.S. Responds to any retaliation from Iran, which now we know, as we're on the air tonight, has in fact happened. Images right now of President Trump earlier today. He forcefully defended his order to carry out that strike, saying the Iranian general was planning, quote, a very big attack, and that the deadly strike, quote, saved a lot of lives. But the president did not reveal any evidence about that imminent attack that he and the administration have pointed to as justification for the strike. And as more U.S. troops land in the Middle East tonight, President Trump saying the U.S. will stay in Iraq after the Iraqi parliament voted to force out the U.S. and after a letter from the U.S. military was sent to the Iraqis saying the U.S. was in fact leaving. The Pentagon now saying that letter was in fact a mistake. The president indicating late today that the Americans would stay in Iraq. Although developments now showing that Iran is now striking U.S. facilities, in one in particular, according to a U.S. official in western Iraq tonight. I do want to get to our chief White House correspondent, Jonathan Karl, monitoring late-breaking developments from the White House tonight. John, any response from the White House yet?
No response yet, David, but the president today reiterated his threat to respond to any Iranian attacks with overwhelming attacks on behalf of the United States. He did back away from his threat to target Iranian cultural sites, but not to go after Iran if Iran were to strike the United States. This came on a day when he offered more explanations, but no new evidence behind his reasoning for the attack that took out Qasem Soleimani.
Faced with mounting demands for evidence that Qasem Soleimani posed an imminent threat, the president today defended his decision to order the attack that killed the Iranian general.
What can you tell us about what you knew prior to ordering the attack?
Well, number one, I knew the past. His past was horrible. He was a terrorist. They were planning something, and you're going to be hearing about it, or at least various people in Congress are going to be hearing about it tomorrow. We had tremendous information. We've been following him for a long time, and we followed his path for those 3 days. And they were not good stops. We didn't like where he was stopping. They were not good stops. We saved a lot of lives.
But the president also suggested Soleimani was killed in part to retaliate for an earlier attack that killed an American contractor.
Ours was an attack based on what they did. We weren't the first one out.
Is the U.S. prepared for an Iranian attack?
We're prepared. We're totally prepared. And likewise, we're prepared to attack if we have to, as retribution.
But the president backed off his threat to strike Iranian cultural sites, something his own advisors acknowledged would be considered a war crime.
And you know what? If that's what the law is, I like to obey the law. But think of it. They kill our people. They blow up our people. And then we have to be very gentle with their cultural institutions. But I'm okay with it. It's okay with me.
The strike that killed...
Oh man, oh man, oh man. So we're going to we're going to war with Iran. And nobody really expected this. Well, most of us was like, they'll just back off. They ain't going to be fucking, strong enough to really get it done. Well, they're actually launching missiles out of Iran in an active fucking war. I'll tell you what, there are a couple things that really concern me. Number one is Russia. Number two is China. Number three is Afghanistan. Number four is India and Pakistan, Uzbekistan, and all the countries around there. And the reason why these places concern me, because these places are part of an Asian coalition. And on top of that, part of this, like Central European coalition as well. There's a bunch of them all. There's a bunch of coalitions. But these coalitions have stood here and they have defense pacts, and one of them, Iran, is actually an observer in this Central Asian coalition. And on the other one, you know, I mean, they've been trying to get in as far as Russia's concerned, and they're, you know, I mean, they've been great trading partners and things of this nature. So, with that being said, I am concerned about what other countries are going to do in this current situation, right? Especially considering the fact that today we just told a UN representative for Iran they got denied their visa to go to the UN. And I personally think we need to throw the UN the fuck out of our country. You know what I mean? Like, let them go have that shit in Geneva or whatever the fuck they're going to do, and they can go over there and say whatever they're going to say and tell UN to go fuck off. You know what I mean? Because the whole world can come to war with us at the same time. We'll fuck them all up. But, man, listen. You know what I mean? I am not a big fan of how things are going at the moment. So, as far as shit's concerned, I don't know really, like, where shit stands. I know, like, what's probably going to happen. Financially and physically, we're going to end up printing a shit ton of money to pay for this new war that we're going to have. And on top of that, we're going to be low on material. So now's going to be a really good time to get into metals and assets. You know what I'm saying? Like, real shit. Like, right now, like today, tomorrow will be a fucking amazing time to get into real assets, because, you know, this is going to be that moment, you know what I'm saying, where, like, things start climbing and jumping off of a cliff for the next couple of years. There's going to be a giant asset bubble, and then there's going to be a giant crash on the other side of it. This is how war does. You know what I mean? I've been through this before. We went through this with Iraq and Afghanistan and shit in the first part of this. So let's see where this leads. This war could, you know what I mean, possibly have, you know what I mean, Suez Canal shut down. We could end up having oil disruptions all over the Middle East. You know what I mean, especially with places like Syria and, you know what I mean, UAE and Qatar and Yemen and Saudi Arabia. Like, this is, you know what I mean, this is not something that we should probably take lightly. You know what I mean? Like, this is a country that does have ties all over the Middle East and is supported by a lot of Middle Eastern countries, especially places like Egypt and stuff. So I would be highly concerned about what's going on right now. Legitimately, I'd be paying attention. But I wanted to bring this to you to show you that, like, yo, they're going forward with this. And the reason why is that they're running out of time. Like, they know that we cannot continue to afford our military budget for much longer. You know what I mean? With Social Security and Medicare creeping up on 100% of the U.S. federal budget, like, they know that they're going to run out of time here really, really soon in order to be able to do this. And they're not going to be able to borrow money, and I mean, for perpetuity. Like, so they're going to try and knock this out of the box now. They had this plan, you know what I mean, a long time ago. They were going to have this plan now. This is something that, you know, we legitimately, you know what I mean, have been looking at for a long time, you know. So that's where we're at, and that's where this is going to be. You know what I mean, this is Tom Peace from Pnoid News. Wanted to drop this video for y'all and show y'all what's going on. All right. Just want to keep everybody up to date. Peace be like one. Later.